Is this the green screen I was using yesterday? Okay. I think it's it. Um, okay, I got the lighting on. And then we got the retouch going. Okay, alrighty. Going over there, honey. Let me get the book. Happy Wednesday, everybody, which is in the building. YouTube is in the building. Say hello, everybody. Let me go ahead and get you on the charger because you at 77. I got some water, don't worry. Let me cut him down because I hear him in there kicking, putting himself to sleep. Um, we'll see. Because as soon as he pee, he gonna be calling me. As soon as he pee, he gonna be calling me. Right. But I hear him in there kicking. I was debating whether or not I wanted to finish watching the interview or finish chapter 4. And then I realized that I was using the background yesterday for the book. Look so unprofessional of me. Okay, one of y'all gonna have to go off. Hold on, let me see. Okay. I'm trying to see is that better. Thank you for the thumbs up. Mwah. Thank you for the thumbs up. Trying to get them lips glossed up. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to finish the interview from Breakfast Club yesterday or if I wanted to go ahead and get started with chapter 4. We can always come back to the interview. The interview ain't going nowhere. Oh, honey, where your mic? Because you can't be sitting on the table like that. Okay. Hold on. Let me plug it in. All right. Testing. All right, so we are starting off on, picking up on page 84. This is chapter 4. We're finishing the second half of chapter 4. What this was again? Child, that was 2-3 days ago, honey. I don't even know what that recap gonna be about nothing fooling with me this many days ago. Let me see what's going on. Ice cream fever dreams. Child, there was a lot going on. All these episodes. He's spiraling basically. Career just taking off and newfound fame, money, obviously that's going to fuel all of these lean addiction and all of these substance abuse addictions. You know, it's just going to kind of fuel the ego. Obviously, it's going to bring more money to compensate, you know, purchasing all of these items to fuel this. I don't even know what to call it at this point. Especially when you ain't sleeping, you know, you're not spending enough time sober to even like calibrate what's going on. Scary time for him, to be quite honest, but let's just continue so that we can get through chapter 4, like I said, and then maybe if I have a few minutes at the end, we can go back and finish the Breakfast Club interview, or whenever I feel like going back to it, y'all. It was 57 minutes. I think I got up to like 10 minutes, and I was like, okay, let me come back to this another day. Not that I wasn't interested in the video, it was just more so of, we had already watched like 2 videos yesterday, child, catching up in these YouTube streets yesterday. So I was like, ugh, I probably should have started with that one first. But nonetheless, it ain't going nowhere. It's on the Breakfast Club, so we'll get back to the video whenever we can. The interview, whenever we can. We did find out that Keisha Kayor is power of attorney, so shout out to her. Shout out to her and her wifely duties. Shout out to the power couple. It was nice to see them managing themselves together as a couple in the interview. It was, I have to admit, it was quite nice. So we will go back and watch it. Like I said, it may be at the end of this chapter. It may be at the end of the book. I'm not necessarily sure, but we'll get back to it. It did look like a very interesting interview. But let's just focus on finishing the book. So we're starting off at page 84. We have all the way to page 94. This is the second half of chapter 4. We started off, he's currently incarcerated for something. We don't know. It's one of them instances, and he hearing voices. I touched my face and shook my head. I still didn't want to accept it. I'd walked into my regular tattoo parlor. Okay, we already read this. But did I? Let me just finish. Because I feel like I had already read this. Okay, a few weeks earlier and asked for a tattoo under my eye. My artist didn't really think anything of it, even though the face is sometimes sacred territory. I already had some ink on my face though, so more wasn't a shock. As the needles scraped my skin, I didn't feel anything. And I mean, not a thing. That thin skin under the eye is very sensitive. I should have felt something, but I didn't. I was confused. Something had to be wrong with the needles. There was no reason why I couldn't feel a sharp point puncturing my skin with ink. A day or two later, I walked back into the tattoo parlor and asked for a tattoo under my other eye. The needle hit my skin. Nothing. I went back a few days later and I asked for a tattoo on my forehead. Maybe it was just the location that caused no pain. Still nothing. There were other tattoos, but I can't really remember all of them because I just kept going back to try to feel something. I started tattooing people's names on my body. I tattooed the name of some girl I was talking to once. I had to later get that covered up. I tattooed 2 of my artist's name on me. I had them covered up too. I tattooed my mother's name, my manager's name, and later covered them up as well. In brief moments of being lucid, I'd look at a part of my body and see somebody's name tattooed on me, forgetting I even got it done. The worst of it all, though, was that I couldn't feel any pain. I couldn't feel the needles touching my skin or even my raw skin healing from the ink. I poked at the finished product. I wanted to feel it hurt, and I couldn't. I couldn't process feelings, but I wanted to. I really wanted to. I wanted to process emotions. I wanted to cry. I wanted to feel sad. I didn't even know how tears could form in me at this point. That's why I kept showing back up to the tattoo parlor. I figured needles on my face had to ignite something in me, right? But they didn't. I wanted the pain to affect me. It didn't. I felt defeated. And the more I tried to spark a feeling and failed, the more it made me miserable and angry. We talked about that feedback loop. It will continue to keep coming up. And you feel bad because it's like, ooh, I want to feel some pain. Let me go get a tattoo. Ooh, let me get it on my face. Ooh, let me get it on under my eye. Ooh, let me go get some more. Ooh, let me get all these tattoos. Pain, pain. Where's the pain? Just imagine. Just imagine how hurt you have to be to seek out pain. But then again, I don't know. I don't have any tattoos, so I couldn't relate. But just imagine seeking pain. Oh, I need to feel some pain. Wow. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's also because I'm a woman as well. Because I'm like, just imagine pushing a human out of your pee hole. Talk about pain. Go ahead, try it. Tell me what that feel like. Let me see what on the scale of 1 to 10, what you think that be about. I can't imagine seeking pain. It just, pew, my brain just, pew. And I'm already trying to fight back a headache. I'm talking about today. We pushing Thursday. Don't get me started. Because I made a video. I made a short. It was a short. Technically, I didn't even really have to make it for YouTube because I had already made it as a Google review. So when I uploaded it on YouTube, all I had to do was just chain all the shorts together. Because Google review, they'll let you add pictures, but they also will let you add videos. And so just imagine, all I had to do was just chain it together and upload it as a short. This was on my birthday. This was last Thursday. And so, like I said, I'm trying to fight back like this headache because it's pushing Thursday. We're still on Wednesday though, but we coming in on Thursday. And when I tell you these 3 days, my head is like, relax. And I actually had Monday off because we was down, the servers were down. But then I kept trying to figure out why this No Kings Day. Oh my goodness. Don't get me started. But it was about that money order. I have to get an update later because it'll make my head hurt just thinking about it. I have to make an update video about the money order because my head will start hurting if I talk about it now. My head will start hurting if I talk about it now. Let me just relax. That's why I didn't have the bonnet on when I first got here, because my temples. Let me finish. What we had? Uh-huh. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, anger, right. That was the only emotion. I don't, how do you go from seeking out pain to anger? How does seeking out pain, not feeling pain, make you angry? It's making my head hurt, I know that. That was the only emotion I could take ownership of and actually feel. I'm sorry to hear that. Bummer. So I held on to it. It made sense to be angry. But having that as your only emotion is a dangerous thing. Obviously. Duh. That much I knew. So I just sat still. The guards came and got me from my cell and walked me out. From there, we headed over to the courthouse. From the cell block to the courthouse. I wasn't looking at anybody or anything. I was just gazing off to the side. When I approached the courtroom table and sat down, I caught a glimpse of the judge staring at me. He looked at me almost sympathetically. Or maybe he was just disturbed by my current condition. My lawyer filed a petition for mental incompetence, which basically explained that I wasn't mentally fit to stand trial for my probation violation. Normally, people who get to wear that godly robe need more proof that someone isn't capable enough before agreeing to that kind of action. The judge took one look at me, and that was all the validation he needed. My inner spirit jumped back out of me and stood next to the judge at the bench. As I sat at that table, they both stared at me with pity. I guess that's what you really call feeling sorry for yourself. The judge approved the petition that I wasn't fit for trial, but I still needed to go somewhere since jail now felt like the wrong option to court. So they had me committed to Anchor Hospital, a psychiatric facility that also treats chemical dependencies. They transported me in handcuffs from the prison to the facility. Once I got there, I thought I was still locked up. I was barely mentally conscious, so I could have been anywhere. They walked me in my handcuffs to an examination room. There, they uncuffed me and put a blood pressure cuff around my arm instead. A doctor walked in and introduced himself. He checked my pupils, my heartbeat, my blood pressure. He asked me a bunch of questions, and I don't know what I mumbled in return. The doctor wrote down some notes. Then I was brought from the examination room to my bedroom. Mental health facilities rarely have a set floor plan, but most follow a similar blueprint. When you see them in the movies, it's usually some padded room with people in straitjackets yelling. Or they are walking around in shoes with no laces and eating the paint off the walls and laughing. On the other side of it, on the other side of it all, is the mental health spa, where it looks like the patients live in some retirement community and get to play cards and talk about their feelings. In many ways, Anchor Hospital was a combination of all three. They had common areas for people to hang around, but they also had places for the more severe cases. To me, it looked like a dorm with 111 beds, where I had my own room with a bookshelf and a small window. I didn't wander around too much, especially since I was well known. Plus, I was completely numb anyway. How the hell was I supposed to socialize? It was better than jail, I guess, but I thought my actions should have been a little more limited since everyone was under the impression that I was going through something. Not that I wanted one, but where was my straitjacket, my padded room? I expected something highly restrictive where I couldn't leave, but even that wasn't the case. After about 4 days, the coordinator at the facility said, "You're free to go." Free to go. I still couldn't feel anything. Where was I going? I asked if I was heading back to jail. I wasn't. Apparently, the hospital couldn't legally hold me. When the doctor had evaluated me a few days earlier, he concluded that my taking drugs had triggered a mental health crisis. Shall we read that again for the people in the back? When the doctor had evaluated me a few days earlier, he concluded that my taking drugs had triggered a mental health crisis. They noted that I seemed to have a mental health condition. Back then, words like bipolar were pig Latin to me. But even with a diagnosis, it took a back seat to the fact that I willfully took drugs. That meant the situation was technically my fault and not something they could help me with any longer. I guess addiction wasn't enough for them. The recommendation was outpatient treatment. But other than that, I could go home. In that condition, no jail, nothing. So this was like a get out of jail free card for me. It somehow wasn't even in violation of the court if I loved the hospital. So I did. Why wouldn't I? Nobody in their right mind would say, "Nah, I'll just stick around for a while. Stick around here for a while." The thing was, I wasn't in my right mind. Maybe if I were, I would have had the sense to demand that I stay and get some help. Instead, I was ready to break free. I called some of my people and said, "Come get me." By the time I was back outside, I caught up on all the news about me being checked into a crazy hospital. Not everyone was looking at me like I was a madman. Tick, tick, tick. I wonder when he came to that conclusion. I mean, we know that the doctor said it, like, "Hey, uh, but I wonder when he came to that conclusion on his own. Just asking. Just asking. Because I'm like, sir, I was mad, angry at the whole situation, including the publicity. Back in the news for some more bull. Now everyone knew I was unhinged. I felt self-conscious. I felt ashamed. I was mad at every person involved. The judge, the doctor, the person reading the news article. I was paranoid that the world was looking at me like I was crazy. So I wore this facade like I didn't give a damn. If everyone was looking at me and I felt nothing on the inside, if everyone was looking at me and I felt nothing on the inside, it's a question mark. I'm trying to figure out how to word it. If everyone was looking at me and I felt nothing on the inside, then I might as well give them all a show. Here we go. A few days later, I was walking down 10th Street, heading over to Patchwork Recording Studios, which was about 5 minutes away on Hemp Hill Avenue. I looked up on my walk and saw a sign that said tattoos. I already had my set tattoo artist at another place. I never used to trust anyone else. But that day, nothing seemed to matter. I had never been to this other studio, but I just walked right in. I want to do some rock and roll-ish, I said to the guys in the parlor. I want an ice cream cone on my face, right here. I pointed at my cheek, just a little under my right eye. 3 scoops and a burr on the cone, right here. I spoke confidently, trying my best to hide that there was something clearly wrong with me. One of the artists looked at me a little confused. We can't even do a tattoo like that, he said. We don't do tattoos that close to the eye. He's lying. Your tattoo guy will tattoo your eyelids. Don't listen to him. I stood there, emotionless. Nah, but this is what I want. I tapped my cheek with my finger. After a little back and forth with them, they finally agreed to it. When the needle reached my skin and I felt nothing, the defeat returned to my body. I sat there while the artist inked me up. When it was finished, I looked in the mirror. The tattoo looked much bigger than I'd imagined it would be. There was some red lightning bolts coming out of the top of the ice cream with a brow line. Ice cream, into my brow line, sorry. I was like, what's going on here? Okay, there was some red lightning bolts coming out of the top of the ice cream into my brow line because I'd said I wanted some rock and roll-ish. Well, there it was. By the time I walked into Patchwork, everyone knew about the tattoo. The news had already spread. Before the day even ended, people were randomly showing up to the studio to stare at my face. I got a call from somebody. I think it was someone from my record label. You're a marketing genius, he said. This was so smart of you to do. It wasn't just my label either. People around me seemed to be so impressed by this move. I had never felt more offended by a bunch of compliments. Now you're offended. But if people would have told you, oh my goodness, this is so stupid, how dare you, then you would have really gotten offended. So nobody got time for you in these mind games. I was mad at myself and for them for it. See what I mean? Deep down, that ice cream cone on my face was an act of rebellion. Exactly. But it was also a cry for help, obviously. I didn't exactly do it to make the judge understand that I was having a mental health crisis, but I did want the world to recognize it. So why don't you tattoo I'm having a mental health crisis on your forehead? Maybe that'll help. Instead of getting all these tattoos, trying to seek pain, not feeling any pain, and then mad at yourself because, for one, you can't feel any pain. 2, now you're mad at people because, ooh, and it's like, what do you want people to, oh God. But I did want the world to recognize it, right? I wanted everyone to see that I was in distress. If the headlines said that I was crazy, then this was me confirming it. Nobody did. Instead, the whole situation went viral. From going to jail to briefly being committed to getting the ice cream cone tattooed on my face. These were all bad things, but somehow they were made good in the eyes of people being amused by them. Locally, I felt that the most. In Atlanta, people were watching me like I was in a comedy skit. People I knew were trying to come see me just so they could see the tattoo. Sometimes they would tell other friends, hey, bring Gucci over here so they could look at my tattoo. They didn't think, man, what's going on with him? Is he okay? No, they just wanted to see what I did to my face. No, they were probably thinking the same thing, but they still wanted to see it in person too. Let me see it again, turn to the side. Let me see. Oh my God. And then shame on the person who said, oh no, we don't do that close to the eye. And then what? The price went up or something? I believe in my heart that they knew I was in a effed up place. It was impossible not to see that. Exactly. Meanwhile, I was just stumbling around, showing on my face and feeling disgusted inside, right? But on the outside, yeah, right. Clearly, because you're playing mind games with everybody, but mostly yourself. But somehow you want us to read your mind. Oh my goodness. With voices talking to, okay. People interviewed the tattoo artist about my, exactly. So he got his little fame off of it. You man? I didn't even remember pictures being taken during the ink, but there were, of course. And even in those pictures of me getting the tattoo, and right after I got it, you can see the numb look on my face. You definitely could, y'all. I'm talking about. And I thought he had, did he put his glasses back on afterwards? No, he had them off when he took that picture. I looked like I was not even there. My eyes were in a daze. I would never have made that decision if I was thinking rationally or processing what was going on around me. Yeah, okay. If you say so, Joe. Wow. Well, we got to take your word for it at this point. You was going to the studio, and then somehow you ended up getting a tattoo on your face. It's like you never catch me walking into some barbershop because I saw a sign that said haircuts. And yeah, I went and did this to my face at a place that said tattoos. I told you. What I say? I said he was going to the studio and somehow I remember Martin Luther King Jr. Day was just a few weeks after I got the tattoo. And so people took photos of Dr. King and put my ice cream cone tattoo on his face. Child, don't get me started because they had them AI videos of Dr. King and oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ooh. You got to see them AI videos, honey. Like you talking about a picture. Child, he is talking. He got all the what's the word? All the accents, honey. He got Georgia accent, Louisiana accent, Boston accent, New York accent. He got all the accents, honey. They they did a number on Dr. King and them AI videos. Oh my goodness. That picture showed up on party flyers in Atlanta and it was all over the internet. I even had fans who went and got the same tattoos on their faces. No, Sherlock. Really? Really? You got other people that got those tattoos on your face. Bummer. Oh. Everyone thought I'd crafted the greatest plot twist of all, where I flipped the news in my favor and had my fans all in on it too. All it cost me was my dignity. Oh, poor little teen. The reality was everyone saw dollar signs, so eventually I did too. Now those party flyers were leading to packed nights at the club for the promoters. I was getting shows booked on the strength of people wanting to show up and see this tattoo in person. I was sitting in the middle of a downward spiral and I was being congratulated for it. On top of that, people saw an opportunity to make some money off me. That's when I believe the manipulation started. My rates for appearances on songs started dropping, not because of the dip in my popularity. If anything, I was getting even more popular now that I had this thing on my face. Not thing. But it was easier to negotiate on my behalf if I wasn't lucid enough to chime in. So let's say, for example, a Gucci Mane feature was $20,000 on any given day. I had people around me making deals for a Gucci feature for 10,000, and then they would pocket 2,000 for a commission. If they asked me for a verse, I'd just record one and hand it off. When I say I had no idea what was going on, I mean it. The one thing I could do effectively was record a verse. Even in my worst state, I could do that much. I could also show up to local places and do these little performances. I couldn't travel far, not with my promotion, not with my probation. I was unfit for travel even if I could tour. People around me still wanted to make their money, so I started booking me for club appearances in Atlanta. Oh, so they started booking me for club appearances in Atlanta. That gave fans an opportunity to see the tattoo in person. People started telling the clubs they had to pay a fee, like $10,000, for example, and they deduct 2,500 from it and have me thinking it was just 7,500 to show up. Then when I'd get to the club, some of my other friends would show up and I'd just start handing out money. The next day, people would say to me, "Do you remember handing each of your friends $1,000 a piece last night?" I didn't. Nobody was giving that money back, knowing I had no idea what I was doing and knowing that I had no business being in the club like that. Let me give me something to drink. I was never the type of person to walk through some small club for 10,000 and then lose half the money by the end of the night. That just wasn't me. But I wasn't there mentally. So, really, did Gucci Mane even show up? A few months later, in April, I was arrested again for an incident that happened back in January. I didn't even remember it happening, but I knew it was going to have major repercussions for me. I wonder if this when he pushed the chick out the car. Let's see. Let me see. But I knew, given the charge, this time I tried to do right. I entered into a 90-day rehab program and dropped myself out. I dressed respectably for the hearing and I tried my best to show that I was a changed man. I showed them all of the music I had released and how productive I was. I had mental health professionals with me explaining to them that the substances mixed with a mental health condition assisted in the crimes. But I was off the substances now. I wanted to prove to the courts that I could really change and that I didn't need jail. I just needed a little help. But by then, it was too late. And they weren't going to listen. It was one thing when my attorney was telling them I wasn't in a good mental place to be tried. But it was another for them to have me sober so that they could sentence me and I could feel it and hear it with a clear mind. They sentenced me to 6 months in jail. I think about those white kids who pew up schools and are considered mentally ill and put into facilities instead of prison. How people want to call them troubled and say that we should all feel sorry for them because they are going through things due to their mental health, even if the lives of other kids were lost. How even the courts will sympathize with them. And then there's me, a young black man with clear mental health issues, committing what I'd like to believe were far lesser crimes, and being constantly thrown into jail with a disorder diagnosis. I believe that this was the incident where he pushed that lady out of the car. Because you see, he didn't talk about it. He was just like, oh, that there was an incident back in January, and now it's April, and you see how he didn't tell you what incident it was. But if memory serves me correct, I believe that could have been it. But I don't know. I don't have the timeline in front of me. So allegedly, let me get back. I felt it on both sides. Okay, my probation officer was a black woman who I felt very obviously didn't like me. I felt she was jealous and spiteful. She didn't seem to like how I made my money, and she made that very clear. And then we had the old white judge, a man who didn't look at me. He looked through me. I had no one on my side in that equation, whether they looked like me or not. Sometimes I wonder if the court was just as amused to give a jail sentence to a black man with an ice cream cone on his face as the people around me were to stare at it. I'm getting close to the end, so I ain't even going. I'm not. I just want to get. Just want to. I just want to get through this chapter. I only got like a page and a half left. I don't understand. Like, I'm a little confused. You keep spiraling, and it's everybody's fault. It's everybody's fault. There's no accountability here. It's just, oh my goodness, the judge. Oh my goodness, the probation officer. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. People keep staring. What? Wait a minute. Let me finish. I said I was just gonna chill. I'm gonna keep my little commentary to myself and just read the book, honey. Just read the book. I didn't need to be in jail or prison, but I didn't need, because you was at rehab, and what happened? You left. You left. So let me finish. But I didn't need to be out there roaming the streets either. Okay. Part of me feels like the judicial system was just so sick of me. Good point. They got tired of me showing up to court, after committing some crime. Crime. What crime? And then being thrown back into jail, back out on the streets a short while after that. Welcome to the chat room. Who said welcome to the chat room? I just see something on it. Sorry. Just like everyone else. The courts didn't want to hear that. Hold on, let me see. It better not be nobody. Excuse me. Just give me a second, y'all. I'm over here on Twitch. Stream. It's not. Okay. Oh, I was about to. Go on back over there. Okay. They didn't say. Hold on. Let me see. The courts didn't want to hear about my mental health woes. Hold on. The judicial system was, they got tired of me showing up, right? In and out, back out on the streets a short while after that, I was a celebrity. Oh my goodness. But still a civilian, obviously, who had to have jail time and probation, just like everyone else. The courts didn't want to hear about my mental health woes, but they knew they couldn't have me stand trial in an altered state either. So once I was lucid, it was game on. They didn't sympathize with me or see that I needed real medical attention with consistency. They just saw me as this guy with no regard for the law whatsoever. So, what should they do? Punish me. I do believe that the healthcare system cared enough to want to help me. They just didn't know how to do it. I just hate the fact that, you know, he's writing the book in the now, but of course the reflection has no regards, has no like no attachment, no respect for, well, sir, look at how you were living back then. So don't try to justify it now in your sober state, in your recovered state, trying to bash the judicial system, and like it just I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really feeling it, because it's like I'm just gonna finish because I want to be done with this chapter anyway. Technically, I really want to be done with this book, but we're gonna get through it. We're really gonna get through it. Cause the hope was that a doctor would evaluate me and say, "Look, he has bipolar disorder." And during these episodes, he commits these crimes of aggression. Because you're abusing substances. Like what? Don't skip that. Don't skip the substance abuse. Mr. Episodes slash crimes of aggression slash addict. Sir, you're abusing substances. And so you 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 need to take care of one first and then take care of the other. And so if you help yourself off of these substances abuse, stop abusing all of these substances, obviously that's going to regulate all of these mood disorders, all these crimes of aggression. But you're not linking all three. You're just trying to help me with my mood disorders. Sir, you weren't trying to even get sober back then. That was the only time you were ever able to get sober, was when you were incarcerated. Because then your free will, sir, your free will, you didn't have it back then, and you just have to accept that. I'm not gonna be going back and forth with you about this, sir. Whole chapter 4, we back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It might have been the correct diagnosis to save me from the spiral. That wasn't what happened. Instead, they said that my drug abuse made me spiral and become violent. That's what they said, or that's what it was. That's what they said, or is that what it was? Maybe that was true, but their solution was for me to simply stop taking substances, and you won't have those episodes. That wasn't true either. Not when I had a lingering mental health condition. I can't. I can't. When I was in that spiral and feeling like nothing was helping to bring me joy, pain, sadness, anything outside of anger, telling me to stop taking substances would only make me want to start taking them even more. That sentence didn't make no damn sense whatsoever. The truth is, I should never have been released from the mental health facility. Released, I should have Never been given that option. I wasn't well at all. And the tattoo was the visual representation of that. I was spiraling, and I can say now that I was in a psychotic episode. But at that time, I didn't even know that I was in it. I don't doubt that other people could tell, but they still let me out to wander the streets. Even before the ice cream cone, people saw me getting more and more tattoos on my face, and nobody asked any questions. You a grown man getting tattoos on your face. What you want people to ask? I should have been scolded for leaving the hospital. You're not a child. What are you talking about? Scolded. I should have been told to stay there and figure my ish out. You're a grown man. What are you talking about? And after I got the tattoo, I should have been advised even more strongly to seek treatment. Sir, he told you that he can't tattoo that close to the eye. So I guess you have to take accountability for whatever you said to convince him otherwise. But when you're feeling numb and that act of rebellion becomes something everyone loves, even if it's for the wrong reasons, you start to believe it was a good idea too. You start buying into the marketing genius of it all. What's worse is that my team watched this all go down. And I don't recall that anybody ever said a word. I'm not holding everyone accountable here, but I'm sure they were good. They were good people at the end of the day. But I think after the tattoo incident and more jail time, everyone kind of gave up on me before even trying to save me. It was almost like they saw this man falling apart. So how could they figure out how to keep the business moving? I was clearly in a daze. It's embarrassing to think about it all now, but what it really signified was that through all of this, through all of those viral moments, show appearances, songs, tattoos, crimes, whatever, I still felt nothing. I desperately wanted something to wake me up because I felt like I was asleep the whole time. Eventually, I came to embrace that tattoo on my face. It's a reminder of a time in my life that I will never revisit. It's a reflection of the greatest lesson that I had to learn. Sometimes, when you need help, the only person you can rely on is yourself. Well, I can quote you. We all listen. We got the book for a reason, Lord. Please give them a quote, honey. Please, because oh my goodness. I'm going to just start you off at the colons. I got it. I got it. Get them his quotes, honey. Sometimes, when what happened? Sometimes when you need help. Give me that dash. The like who? Oh my Lord, we thank you. We got all the way to the end for that quote. And that's a good one too, Lord. You know it is. That should be you. That text, because I just texted to you. Lord, we thank you. I got it. I had to text it to myself so I can put it on my on my calendar under his quotes, because I ain't bring my laptop. Lord, we thank you. What did it say again? Sometimes when you need help, the only person you can rely on is yourself. Sometimes when you need help, the only person you can rely on is yourself. Lord, we thank you. Lord, we thank you. Because that is so true. That is so true, child. But then you got to understand and know when you need help. You have to be able to. The history of Haspra. Ian. I got to catch up with Ian, Lord, because he over there. Haspra. But, what was that? Mega Mike Johnson. I have to come back to Midas Touch, because we're done. We're done. And then I'm going to stop co-mingling content. So when I read the book, I'm going to just be done. It's just going to be done because I'll be using the green screen, child. Okay, chapter 5 is Tipping Point. We'll just come back tomorrow for Tipping Point. See, I'm off early. I'm finished early. I don't even feel like scrolling through YouTube right now. Listen. I said I was gonna co-mingle content. So if I'm done, I'm just done. How many more chapters we have? As you can tell, I'm just ready to be done with the book, Lord. I'm just ready. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have 6 more chapters. It look like tomorrow is a long chapter. Chapter 5. Why is chapter 5 so long? Oh, because she got them lights out, lights on, lights out. Oh, no, it's not that long. Okay, so we'll be able to finish chapter. Hold on, oh, Lord, that ain't it. That's not it. That's not the last of it. I was getting those pages confused. I had saw the pages, and I was like, why is chapter 5 going all the way to 140? I knew I wasn't tripping. Why is chapter 5 going all the way to 145? Okay, so we ain't reading all of chapter 5 tomorrow. Let me find a stopping point. Okay, so we'll go to. He did get a quote from Drew. We'll just do 97 to 104. Let me see, because maybe we should do 107. I don't know. I gotta. Okay, maybe we should go to 111. Because she is ridiculously long for chapter 5. I'm trying to find a stopping point so that way I can at least break it down into 2 days. We'll figure it out tomorrow. In the meantime, in between time. Okay, love you. Bye. Mwah.